Hello, hello. Can everybody hear me? All right, welcome, welcome. We are starting a new mod and a new class today. Welcome, everybody. We'll see if we get more people in here. Melissa, Tasha, Natalie, welcome. It is week 1, live lecture 1 already. You guys finished a mod, and now we are in DES114 print production and color theory. My name is April Biss, and I will be your instructor this mod. You can call me by my first name, April, that's fine. How is everybody doing today? You guys ready to start a new class here? Good, awesome. All right, well, let's get started because we have some things to go over here. Great to see everybody. Oh, okay, good. No problem. That's the beauty of being an online student, is you have the flexibility of listening to this even in your car, on your phone. And then if you miss anything in the demo, you can listen to the lecture recording when we're done. All right, so let's get started here. Everybody's coming in. Ashley, welcome. Sedonia, I don't know if I said that right, sorry. Very pretty name. Okay, so welcome, you guys. Again, my name is April Biss. I'm going to give you a little intro here, and then I'll have you guys have some time to type in a little bit about yourself as well. But we're going to do some kind of like housekeeping things in the beginning here, just to make sure everybody knows where everything is. You know, and if you have any questions, you can let me know. We're going to take a look at just this class in general. We're going to also discuss the color wheel. We're going to discuss additive and subtractive color models, and also the 4 color relationships, so complementary, triadic, analogous, and split complementary. So this is going to be pretty much covering color theory, and then, you know, kind of how that's relatable to print production, because as designers, you know, sometimes we don't think about the end product, and not just while you're creating your color harmonies in your designs, but when you're done and ready to print, you have to also be aware of certain things, you know, in regards to color conversion and why you use different color models for different purposes. All right. So just a little bit about me. Again, my name is April Biss. You can call me by my first name. I'm from Pittsburgh, PA originally, but I kind of moved around since I graduated from my, for undergrad for graphic design. I went to a college called La Roche. Now it's called university. They became a university just recently. It's a private college here in Pittsburgh, and I went there for 4 years on ground for my graphic design bachelor's degree. So I have my master's as well. I actually had about 10 years of design experience working for ad agencies, publication companies, and I have my own freelance business before I started to get into teaching. And like I said, I moved around. I moved to Ohio, and I lived there for 6 years in Akron. And I worked for ad agencies there and a publication company. And then I moved to Tampa, Florida for 7 years. And again, worked for publications, and then started into teaching. So I taught for 2 years on ground in Tampa for college before I got my master's. Fell in love with it, and their accreditation changed while I was working there, teaching there, and they needed me to get my master's in order to teach there still. So that kind of pushed me into, I always wanted to get my master's, so that kind of pushed me into getting it, and I went to, I got accepted into Savannah College of Art and Design, and that's a pretty good college. It's one of the top 10 design colleges in the world, so it's kind of elite design school, which is kind of cool to get into. But I always like to tell my students this, because I think this is good to know, that I did my master's all online. Okay, no problem, Roxanne. So I was, you know, in your shoes. I was a design student. I did my master's, my graduate degree online. And it is different. I'm telling you, it's different than being in a classroom. But, you know, there's pros and cons about everything. But I like to tell you guys that because I can relate to what you guys are going through. Now I'm teaching online as well. So, you know, so I can kind of foresee certain things going on and hopefully help you guys out if you need extra help. Oh, you had a call with your cell phone. Gotcha. So I always like to say that I have about 20 years experience working in the design industry. I still, I teach. I don't do as much freelance anymore. I teach more so, but I still do design. I'm actually, I just finished up a book cover for an author, and he just reached out to me again where I'm going to be updating his website. So I do some smaller things. I am teaching more so full time now, but I am still practicing, so it's nice. I have about 7 years of teaching in the design, in higher education. I love it. I've been teaching for IU for about 7 years. And, you know, like I said, I love teaching because I can, you know, give back to you guys my experience. And then you guys inspire me too. So it's kind of cool. We all kind of learn from each other. Oh, okay. Nice. You're in Costa Rica. Very, very nice. I'm jealous. Like I said, I am an owner of a design studio. I have my own freelance business here in Pittsburgh. It's kind of remote, so I kind of moved it all around as I moved. I have a 5-year-old daughter. Her name's Amelia May. I love her. She just kind of, you know, keeps me going. So I'm always moving and grooving. I also have a dog. It's not a Chiweenie. We actually just lost. I should probably update the slide. We just lost our Chiweenie last Christmas, and we got a new dog, but my daughter named him the same name, so same name. But we got a wiener dog instead, so it's all Dachshund. Pretty cute, and he keeps me on my toes as well. If you want to check out, you know, my work, I do have a Behance site. This is the link that you would go to with my first and last name. You can check out things that I've worked on. All right, enough about me. Let's go ahead and see where you guys are from. Let me know. I see your names in here, so that's good. Let me know where you're actually living right now and your location that you're living in, state. It's always nice to see where everybody's from, what your major is, and your experience with graphics application and your career goals. Maybe for now, let's just post where you're living at, so we're not all Arkansas. Ashley's Arkansas, Alabama. Okay. Huntington County. Okay. So you're a PA person. Where's Huntington County at? Tasha, Colorado, Texas. Wow, we got everybody from all around. Cool. I think the last 3 sections of classes, I had a lot of Eastern time zone people, Eastern Standard Time Zone. I don't know where Huntington County is, but oh, okay, 2 hours, 30 minutes from Pittsburgh. Very cool. It's kind of neat to see where everybody is, and maybe that's not where you're originally from, but it's neat to see where you're at now. Very, very cool. Don't forget, you have an introduction in the discussions area, which I would like, instead of typing all this information in here, it'd be nice to kind of share this in your intro. So go ahead and go into your discussions. I started the intro here, so if you just want to click on your introduction and answer, kind of read through the prompts here. It's asking you to answer a couple questions to help you go forward. But here's my intro again, and the links to the Zoom. You can post, you know, a picture of you, or, you know, maybe you have fur babies or kids you kind of want to share with everybody. But what's nice about this is, you know, being an online student is different than being on ground. You're not meeting each other all the time face to face. So it's really important that we make these connections online. It's kind of crazy, and you may not think about this now, but when you go through these classes and then you actually you graduate, hopefully, and you become alumni, how many people that you networked with, your alumni, fellow alumni students that you will graduate with, you know, keep those ties. This is where it all starts, because it's amazing how many, not just from learning from one another, but also you just never know when an opportunity arises through somebody you might know who graduated with you. And, you know, vice versa, you might help somebody else that you know as well. I actually just recently, one of my college professors that I used to have at SCAD for my graduate degree, I actually had found him a job. So it's kind of weird how we all kind of help each other out sometimes. So these networks that you're starting are important. So introducing yourself, kind of talking to each other is really important. So make sure you're making that connection. You just never know. And it's not just about finding jobs, but making friends and connections, and it's always good to stay in contact with each other. A lot of IU students are interning with the same company I'm an intern with. How cool! And where is that? Very cool. Yours is black. Did everybody see what I was sharing here, or was your screen black as well? Can you see that, Ashley?
I can't see anything. It's just a black screen.
Okay. You might want to log out and log back in. Sometimes Zoom can be kind of weird. Just make sure you're updated with everything too. Are you? Oh, Ashley, you're on the phone, so that's probably why. There might be.
No, well, I'm not on my phone. I'm on the computer, but it made me dial in through my phone. I don't know. It's being weird today.
Maybe that's why. Can you see when I stop sharing my Canvas screen? Can you see this slide right here?
I can't see anything. My screen's just black. I can pull up the chat, but that's it.
Okay. So you're gonna probably.
I'm gonna close. Yeah, I'm just gonna completely close it out, and then I'll just get back in it and see if it'll work that way.
Okay, and if it doesn't, this will be provided in the lecture recordings.
Okay.
So,
all right. Well, I'll be back and I'll listen in anyways.
No problem.
All right.
Thank you. Must be something going on with the way she dialed in. Okay. So, just a couple other things to talk about. Due dates. You guys know how important this is, right? Get into the habit of, submitting these either early or on time. On time's what I want you guys to do, obviously, but early would be awesome too. So just make sure you know that our due dates are by Saturday for your assignments and your assessments by midnight Mountain Standard Time. And you cannot be late after your week 4 is ready to be turned in. Nothing can be turned in after that due date on Saturday on week 4, just because grades need to be turned in. And then just really important, discussions. This is kind of to gain the most out of the discussions every week. It's really important to post that as early as possible so you guys can, talk amongst each other, chat amongst each other. If you wait till the end of the week or the next week that it's past due, you're not going to gain as much from it because you're not, conversing. So it's really important that you post your initial post before Wednesday by midnight Mountain Time, and then responding to 2 posts, student posts on different days before Saturday. If you post late, I know I wouldn't go back and read from the week past somebody's post. That's just, we're on to the next at that point. So make sure you're getting that in. And, when I was a graduate student, we had discussion posts as well, just like this. And I always thought in the beginning, I'm like, oh, I'm not going to gain as much. This is kind of a waste of time. But it's kind of crazy because I actually learned more through the discussions than I did through some of the things that we were doing in class. And that was because all of the students and how we engaged into the discussions. So if you're really kind of providing really good substantial information and responses to your peer posts, you'll gain the most out of it. So it's really what you make out of it, okay? If you're just kind of posting, stuff that you pasted in and you're not using your critical thinking skills and your posts aren't very substantial, you're not really going to gain as much from it, okay? So just kind of be mindful of that. Okay, there are course objectives every week here, and this is just kind of some of the course objectives that are placed. I'm going to go right into class so we can take a look at where these are at too. Go to home here. Every week we have these week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4 buttons. If you click right on the week button, it'll kind of list these objectives out. Now, these objectives are what we're going to be walking away from each week learning, hopefully. So this week, in week 1, we're going to be differentiating between additive and subtractive color models. We're going to define primary, secondary, and tertiary colors. Some of this is review for a lot of you guys. Define tints, tones, and shades of color. Identify the following color schemes, so complementary, triadic, analogous, split complementary, monochromatic. Identify and apply the correct use of swatches and color libraries. Identify basic cultural and emotional associations with specific color scheme usage. You know, color is one of the most powerful design elements that you can use. So you want to make sure you know how to properly use it appropriately. Oh, you never knew about the week button. See, this is why we do this. Week 1. You didn't even know about it. Okay, and then every week too, there's like a little short video, an inspirational video that's relative to this week. That's funny, Tasha. And then down below here is just some quick links to get to. And one of the ones I want to point out is the course media link. Hopefully you know about this one. Course media can be found under there, or it could be in your modules. And what's important to know about this, and it's taking time to load here. What's important to know about this is actually your required video and readings for the week. So before you watch this one, or after you watch this one, you are to watch this lecture 1 video as well, and that's supportive of this week. Your articles that you need to read are listed here. So you have Capture Your Color Inspirations, which shows exactly what's kind of touched upon there. And then Create Inspiring Color Themes with Adobe Color. How to use Creative Cloud libraries. And then other Adobe support about color, you know, can be, and this is probably something that you'll go back to as a resource more so. Here's a basics of color theory, just going over the basics, and then videos again. This is kind of more of the beginning of graphic design, color psychology, very interesting resources here. And then there's optional resources, which are the lynda.com videos. But every week there are, you know, required videos and articles to read, as well as optional ones. So that's a resource in there you'll want to definitely check out. Okay, so we all know about the week 1 button now. Woohoo! Tasha's like, wow, learned something new today. Don't forget, I have students every once in a while that'll email me. They'll be like, you know, I really want to bring my grade up. Do you have any extra credit available? I can't really give you guys any extra credit. The only extra credit that you guys have available to you are the daily checkpoints. So every day you have a chance to gain 5 points, and that really adds up to the end of the 4th week if you think about every day having that option. And what's nice about that is it's also another supplemental resource to this. So it has relative information that you will learn throughout this course, you know. So it's great to do. So daily checkpoint is here. Shark academic resources. Again, this is just additional academic resources that you can definitely utilize. Writing Center, library, student information clubs, all the good stuff in here. Live session, you guys are all in here listening, so that's great. So you knew where to find the link. If not, this is where it is. And then this is a little, I just wanted to review this real quick, a little different than probably some of your other classes. I'm actually, because my work schedule so different during the week, I had to split some of my time up on different days for our live lecture. So week 1 and 3 only. So week 1, today we're meeting on Monday. If you are Mountain Time, we start at 9:30. And then week 3 will be also meeting on Monday. But then next week we'll be meeting on Tuesday, same time, just a different day. And then week 4, our final week, we'll meet on Tuesday. So every week it'll kind of switch back from Monday to Tuesday, and then Monday and Tuesday for a live lecture. We only have 1 live lecture a week, but don't forget you have that required lecture recording in your course media to watch as well. And then every week we have a instructor-led multi-session. Mine will be Wednesday. pretty much the same time as we meet for our lectures. And that's optional. You guys aren't, you don't have to be there. It's just an opportunity for you guys to come in. I'll have my, Zoom open, and I'll be ready for those 2 hours to have anybody pop in and if you have any questions or need extra help, that's what that's for. Here's the link too. So when this lecture is done, I will be pasting in the link right here. So you'll have week 1, lecture 1, and lecture 2 to watch before going forward. Oh, great, Ashley. Awesome. Course information, that's just kind of what it is. So it just talks about the description of this course, your objectives, learning objectives, credit hours, your text, course roadmap. What's nice about this part here, topical outline, it just gives you a nice little brief overview of what we're going to be going over every week. So you can definitely check that out if you're wondering what we're going to be doing. You can also find the syllabus in there for additional information. The library links are here, Student Success Center. I will be posting your learning coach contact information and hours in the announcements pretty soon here. But this is if you need extra tutoring, this is where you would find that. Readings and video, again, this is the course media that I just showed you. That's another way to get to it. We'll go back, I don't know why it's taken a long time to load here. Help desk, if you have any issues going on. Also computer support, it's more hardware related. Career preparation, just kind of keeping that in mind every time we go through each class while you're here. Bio about the instructor. This is another place that you'll find my contact information if you need to contact me. I have my iPhone on all the time, so if you just email me, that's I'll get back to you within 24 hours. If you need to call me, that's fine too. I just prefer the email method at first, but I'm not, opposed to you guys calling me either. Instructor, I just might not answer right away because I have, a lot of stuff going on, but I will get back to you for sure. That's my contact information. Course content list, the last button here, just to show you, this is just an easy way to get through what you see on that splash page. And also another way to get to your ebook, lynda.com, course media, library links, lecture links. Okay. Any questions about that? Pretty straightforward. Also in the announcements, I forgot to show, in announcements, I'll show that in a second here. That's when I will be, you want to check in the announcements every day because that's how I communicate with you. Okay, so you ask, how do I succeed in this course? Well, you want to read the announcements. You want to make sure you're up to date on what I'm talking to you about. There might be certain resources I'm giving you that might help you throughout that week. There might be certain things that I want you to know before you submit something. So make sure you read the announcements. So that's pertinent information pertaining to the class, including links, reminders, scheduling, etc. Again, this is how I communicate with you. Participate in the discussions each week. Don't forget about that, how important that is too. Doesn't mean you have to just post 2 responses. You can do more than that if you want, but definitely get that started as soon as possible. Complete assignments on time. I can't elaborate how important this is just to get in good habit. And I know things come up, life happens. Trust me, I go through it too. The sooner you are to communicate with me, the more that I can be flexible with you. So make sure you are communicating with me if you have stuff going on in your life that's hindering you from doing certain assignments, submitting them on time. Make sure you're doing the daily checkpoints. Again, those are your extra credit. Attend live sessions. If you can't, listen to the recording. I will be doing step-by-step demonstrations, and I will know by, if you send me questions or if you submit certain work that doesn't reflect what we did in the demo and specifics in the course, I'll know if you watched the lecture or not. Okay? And that will save you time. I'm telling you, it's the meat potatoes behind what we do. If you missed the lecture, listen to the recording. Highly recommend. Just because we do the step-by-step demo, and all your questions should be resolved. If not, let me know. Come to the multi-session if you need help, and communication is key, just like with anything else. Okay, we went over the live session schedule, so we don't have to do that again, but just to let you know, if you need any other outside help, Student Success Center is open with tutoring available and no appointment is necessary. All right. So with that being said, let's get started, you guys. We're talking about the color wheel. We're going to be doing a color wheel for your assignment 1. So let's go ahead and talk about this. Everybody kind of knows the color wheel, right? It's the color circle, the basic tool for combining colors. And this was basically first designed by Sir Isaac Newton in 1666, kind of crazy. So it's basically designed so that virtually any colors you pick from it will look good together. Over the years, many variations of the basic design have been made, but the most common version is a wheel of 12 colors based on the RYB or artistic color model. So there are traditionally a number of color combinations that are considered especially pleasing. These are called color harmonies or color chords. They consist of 2 or more colors with a fixed relation in the color wheel. There are different kinds of color colors on the color wheel and what they're called, and it's really important to know what these are called, their descriptions. There's primary, secondary, and tertiary colors that are on the color wheel. Does anybody know what the primary colors are? It's kind of on the slide, so there you go. Red, yellow, and blue, good. And what makes them primary? Good.
They are the main colors that make up all of the colors.
Yep, so you can't mix to get red. You can't mix to get blue. You can't mix to get yellow. Those are the main colors. Good. The secondary colors are green, orange, and purple. And you can create these by mixing 2 primary colors. I've just taught my 5-year-old, I'm teaching her how to do this, and she seems like she's catching on here. So it's pretty a basic, fundamental type of an idea here. Another 6 tertiary colors are created by mixing primary and secondary colors. So you have the, like the green, blue, and the orange, yellow type colors for your tertiary. Good. So the primary colors are shown here in this triangle, are pointing out the primary colors. You cannot mix these colors. They are the root of every hue imaginable. All right. So here it says, in paint pigments, pure yellow, pure red, and pure blue are the only hues that can be created by mixing any other colors together. Printer inks and digital primaries are referred to as yellow, magenta, and cyan. If we're talking about print production, yellow is yellow, obviously. Magenta is more of the red, and then the cyan is the blue. The secondary colors, again, are when you combine any 2 of the pure primary hues, you get 3 new mixed colors called secondary colors, and these are shown here: orange, purple, and green. Tertiary colors, again, this is what you would call when you mix the primary and secondary on the color wheel. Create six new mixtures called tertiary. And those are, so for instance, yellow and orange would be yellow-orange, red and orange would be red-orange, and so on and so forth. Okay, let's talk about additive color. So additive color system involves light. You can see here, it's almost like a spotlight, emitted directly from a source before an object reflects the light. Sorry, guys. The additive reproduction process mixes various amounts of red, green, and blue light to produce other colors. And combining one of these additive primary colors with another produces the additive secondary colors, cyan, magenta, yellow. And then combining all 3 primary colors produces white. So you can see on the slide here, RGB coming together produces white. So television and computer monitors create color using the primary colors of light. Each pixel or monitor screen starts out as black. Isn't that crazy? When the red, green, and blue phosphors of pixel are illuminated simultaneously, that pixel becomes white. This phenomenon is called additive color. You can see it here. It's almost like spotlights when they come together and they overlap. So it's perceived as white light. You can see it here, as mentioned before. Television screens and computer monitors are examples of systems that use this. The phosphorus light activated electronically and is the combination of different intensities of red, green, and blue phosphor dots that produces all colors on a video monitor. Because the dots are so small and close together, we do not see them individually, but see the colors formed by the mixture of light. So colors often vary from one monitor to another. This is not new information to anyone who has visited an electronics store with various brands of televisions on display. Do you ever walk into like a Target and you see how different the display is? Or even different monitors on computers. Also, colors on monitors change over time. Currently, there are no color standards for the phosphors used in manufacturing monitors for the graphic arts industry. So that's kind of interesting because you can kind of change your colors based on your, the color system on your computer, but you can't change the phosphor, the emitted light into it. Yep, yeah, and that's always a kind of a challenge when you're doing, work that has to do with color that has to be spot on. So it's kind of interesting it's a challenge for sure. We'll talk about this as we go forward. There's also subtractive color. So photographs, magazines, and other objects of nature, such as an apple, create color by subtracting or absorbing certain wavelengths of color while reflecting other wavelengths back to the viewer. This phenomenon is called subtractive color. Yeah. A red apple is a good example of subtractive color. The apple really has no color. It has no light energy of its own. It merely reflects the wavelengths of white light that cause us to see red and absorbs most of the other wavelengths, which evokes the sensation of red. The viewer or detector can be the human eye, film in a camera, or light sensing instrument. So the subtractive color system involves colorants and reflected light. Subtractive color starts with an object, often a substrate such as paper or canvas that reflects light and uses colorants, such as pigments or dyes, to subtract portions of the white light, illuminating an object to produce other colors. If an object reflects all the white light back to the viewer, it appears white. If an object absorbs, which is subtracts all light, illuminating it, no light is reflected back to the viewer, and it appears black. It is the subtractive process that allows everyday objects around us to show color. So here's a picture here, an 1877 color photo by Louis Ducos du Horon, a French pioneer of color photography. The overlapping subtractive yellow, cyan, and red, magenta, image elements can be seen clearly along the edges of the image. You can kind of see that on the edge coming together. You have color paintings or photographs. All color printing processes use the subtractive color process to reproduce color. In these cases, the reflective substrate in canvas painting or paper, photographs, or prints, which is usually white. Printing presses use color inks that act as filters and subtract portions of the white light striking the image on paper to produce other colors. Printing inks are transparent, which allows light to pass through to and reflect off of the paper base. It is the paper that reflects any unabsorbed light back to the viewer. So the offset printing process uses cyan, magenta, and yellow, so CMY. Process color inks, and a fourth ink is black. The black printing ink is designated K to avoid confusion with B for blue. Overprinting one transparent printing ink with another produces the subtractive secondary colors red, green, and blue. Okay, along with that is complementary colors. So we talked about subtractive colors. Now we're going to talk about complementary colors. These are opposite of each other on the color wheel. So for example, this would be red and green would be a complementary color. And they're the high contrast colors that create a vibrant look, especially when used at full saturation. This color scheme must be managed well so it is not jarring. Complementary colors are tricky to use in large doses, but work well when you want something to stand out. Complementary colors are really bad for text. I just actually had somebody in another class design a menu, and the back, they made the whole back part of the menu that green color that you see in that dot, and then they used text, big text, like headline text in that red color. Super hard to read, and it just creates this vibration in the eye that makes it hard to look at. In certain cases, it's okay to use, but I would not use that in regards to text. So this is an example of kind of the jarring effect on your eye. It's good to know what not to do and why not to do it. You also have triad colors, and these are colors that are evenly spaced around the color wheel. The triadic color harmonies tend to be quite vibrant, even if you use pale or unsaturated versions of your hues. To use a triadic harmony successfully, the colors should be carefully balanced. Let one color dominate and use the others for accent. See, purple, orange, and green here are the example of triad colors. You also have analogous colors, and these are colors that are next to each other on the color wheel. They usually match well and create serene and comfortable designs. Analogous color schemes are often found in nature and are harmonious and pleasing to the eye. Make sure you have enough contrast when choosing an analogous color scheme. Choose one color to dominate, a second color to support. The third color is used along with black or white as an accent. So you can see here the green, and then the light blue and the lime green are the three analogous colors. Then you have split complementary colors, and these this color scheme is a variation of the complementary color scheme. In addition to the base color, it uses two colors adjacent to its complement. So this color scheme has the same strong visual contrast as the complementary color scheme, but has less tension. This color scheme is often a good choice for beginners because it is difficult to mess up. So you can see here, it's using the split complementary of the red, purple, orange, red, and the green. Any questions about that? It's pretty self-explanatory. It's almost like a review, which is good to do. I know it's kind of like blah, 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 but at least you kind of got a good idea of certain things, description that you need to know, a certain little review there. All right, so we're going to get into your, before we get into your assignment one, let's go over your discussion. We'll read over that. And then right before we get into your assignment one, we're going to take a short break so you guys can grab some coffee or some food. I got really quiet. I did? Oh, okay. My hand might be over my mic. Sorry. Let me see if I could turn up my... Okay, good. Seems like my mic goes in and out sometimes. All right, so your discussion one, let's take a look at this. I'm not going to read word for word for your background. I want you guys to definitely read this through this before you get into your prompt. But I will skip through. There's actually a little 6-minute video here to look at. But what we're going to be discussing is color palettes with meaning. Let's go to the prompt. So for this discussion, imagine that you're helping a client choose colors for a poster. The client is a theater group, and the poster is advertising plays for the upcoming fall season. The first play is simplified, short version of The Wizard of Oz that will be performed during the day for children 4 to 12 years old. The second play is a holiday comedy based on How the Grinch Stole Christmas for the entire family. The third play is Thou M for Murder, a classic thriller mystery for adults. The theater director's daughter loves painting and drawing and has come up with a palette of colors for each play. The theater director is so proud and happy about them and asks you what you think. Do they work? Do any of them need to change? If so, why? So take a look at all three of these, and this is the color palette for each of these that his daughter created. For your post, you're going to choose one of the plays and palettes defined above. If you're not familiar with any of the plays, you can do a search for them to find out what they are all about. Talk about the emotions suggested by colors selected and whether or not they are in line with the play they represent. Share at least one resource that helped you define your thoughts and opinions. There's a tip here. Don't go for the obvious. Pushing and reaching into people's emotions require a well thought out color scheme. For example, choosing red and green for The Grinch Who Stole Christmas, while it does say Christmas, doesn't instill the mood of the storyline. So for your citation, you can use articles that describe the emotional or psychological effects of colors. You can also find articles from experts that suggest how one goes about creating a cohesive color palette for a project. Don't forget to hit upon your requirements for your reply in your initial post here. This all kind of explains it needs to be a certain amount of words. You need to have a citation in there, and then 2 follow-up posts. So The Wizard of Oz, How the Grinch Stole Christmas, and Dal M for Murder. Yeah, take a look at these, see if you think that makes sense. If not, you might want to explain why the colors may not make sense for each one or why they do. You can even post a example coming from something that you found online that relates to that, the movie, that show. Any questions about that? So talk about the emotions each color give and how that may support or may not support these particular color swatches. Any questions?
I have a quick question. Are we supposed to like look at, is this like actual plays that we're supposed to look up to see if the color scheme go with, or are we just supposed to just kind of guess at it?
Okay, can you ask that again? I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Are we supposed to like look up, are these like actual plays that we need to look up to see if the color schemes actually go with it, or are we just supposed to kind of go with what we know about them, or just kind of guess at it?
So these are plays that are gonna happen that are, fictional, but these are actual movies. So just go from what you know from the movies that you saw.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, thanks.
Yeah. So just think of it as, they're coming out with posters for this advertising for these plays. And then it's almost like you're coming in as a designer and you talk to the theater director, and he says, well, my daughter has these color palettes for this poster for The Wizard of Oz, say, for example. Do you think that those colors, you could work with those colors as a designer for this poster? Maybe, maybe not. So do your research and kind of base it upon what you feel, those colors would be appropriate or not. Maybe some of them would be, some of them may not. You might want to suggest other colors that might be, more appropriate. And then when you do, always kind of support it with, a fact of why you would suggest a new color or a different tint or shade. Okay? So think of it almost like as you're walking in as a designer and you're ready to take these colors for the poster that you're ready to design. Because, you will often find yourself, and I know I have, in instances where you're going to go in and work on a project and the client already has colors chosen for you, and they really, really, really want you to use those colors. Now, that might not mean that they're appropriate. You're the expert, you're the professional, you went to school for this. Now, it doesn't mean that you're going to say, oh, no, you're crazy, I'm not going to use those colors. But you have an education, that's why you're going through this, to back it up with facts on why it would work or why it wouldn't work. So how would you talk to the client in regards to that? So it's almost like you're going to be talking to the client in their discussion post. Does that help? Does that clarify it? Okay. All right. So great. So get that started as soon as possible so that you guys can, build upon each other's perspectives. If you don't agree with somebody's perspective, you know, in a respectful way, just kind of show what your perspective is and back that up substantially. And that's kind of how we learn and build from each other. You might not see it in that way that another person is looking at it, and that's how you open up to learning new thoughts and new perspectives, new ideas. All right, I'm going to take a 5-minute break here so we can kind of have a nice transition into your demo for your assignment 1. Go ahead and grab some caffeine, some sugar, and then we'll get started with your demo, and I'll kind of walk through it step by step so you guys have a good idea of how to complete this. Does that sound good? All right, I'll meet you guys back here in 5 minutes. Okay, can you guys hear me? Awesome, awesome, awesome. Okay, let's take a look at you probably have read this assignment 1. You guys are going to do a color wheel. I'm going to switch back to your actual Canvas instructions here so we're all on the same page. Go back here. And I'm just going to walk through this step by step, and then I'll show you some examples too of your assignment 1 so you have a good idea of how to start this. Okay, it's pretty easy. You're going to be designing a color wheel, and I want you to go ahead and read through the learning objectives as well as the background. Just kind of talks about, you know, the color wheel. There's a video here as well. I'm going to go right to the prompt. So for this assignment, you will be creating a color wheel and then applying your understanding of some common color schemes to it. There will be 4 color wheels total, each demonstrating an instance where one of the following occurs. So you're going to show 4 total color wheels. 1 is going to show the complementary color scheme. 2 is going to be triadic color scheme. 3 analogous, and 4 split complementary. Your assignment instructions are to create your assignment in Illustrator. Your document size is 10 inches by 11 inches, and you're going to have 4 artboards total. Create a color wheel on the first artboard utilizing the bright color swatches. So swatches, options panel, open swatch library, color properties. It's kind of showing you how to find that, and then bright for the primary and secondary colors. I'm going to show you also another way to do this. Utilize Illustrator's blend tool to create the tertiary colors as shown in this tutorial. So there's a little video there. You can be straightforward with this using circles in a traditional circular pattern, or more creative by changing up the shapes and layout, but you must keep the correct order. Make sure your colors are in order, so red, red, orange, orange, yellow, orange, for example, and then back to red where you started. This will ensure that your color schemes work properly. As long as the relationships are in the above order and are easy to identify, have fun with this. You can duplicate the color wheel once you have that created to your other 3 artboards. You're going to indicate 1 color scheme, so you know the 4 here, on each board using lines or something similar to show the relationship. You only need to show 1 instance of each relationship. You're going to export when you're done as a multi-page PDF, and you're going to save it with that name. Now I have an example of this already finished that I'm going to show you here. Now it doesn't mean you have to make it look like this. You can make it look, you know, however you would like, but this is an example of what you can do. So this is a very simplistic, simple approach. I'm going to show you how to create this today. And this is analogous color scheme here. So it's side by side on the color wheel. This is complementary. So you can see the little white dots are kind of indicating the analogous colors, complementary across from the color wheel. I think this one wasn't completely finished. Hold on 1 second. I thought this one was done. Okay, here's another one. This is one kind of doing a little bit more of a traditional approach, complementary. Oh, you know what? The indicators are not right on this one, so this isn't actually done either. Complementary, this is correct. Triadic, this would be obviously different. This line would be pointing to maybe the purple, I'm sorry, the purple, orange, and green on this one. And then analogous would be side by side. And split complementary. But you can kind of see the design is a little different than what I just showed you. Let me see if I can find any other examples here. Hold on 1 second. Student work. I guess I don't have any other student. I thought I had student examples. Sorry, guys. I'm just going to go right in and show you how I would start this. You don't have to do it this way, but you definitely can if you want to. Kind of get you started here. Okay, so we're going to go ahead, and before we actually do the color wheel, I wanted to show you a way to create your 12 color steps, okay? So what I would do, and let me delete these. I think I created all these and I didn't have to. You can go ahead and create just a regular rectangle like I did here. I'm actually going to delete these so you can just see how I do it. I'm in Illustrator. I just went and took the square tool and I just did a little rectangle. Now I'm going to alt drag this so I have a duplicate. Put it right here and alt drag another duplicate. I can bring up my align tool. So go to window align and I can make sure that these are all aligning. So I'm going to select all and I'm going to, oops, not that one. I'm going to distribute evenly, vertically. I don't want to do this one. Yeah. And then horizontal distribute center so that we all know it's aligning perfectly. Doesn't matter where it is on the page. So I want the first one to be a red. Go ahead and bring up your color swatches up here. Color is under window if you don't see it here. If you want to set your settings up when you go into Illustrator, you go up to the right-hand corner up here. And you can choose essentials and that'll reset your panels. And then you can, kind of do this as you want as far as your custom palette. So I'm going to go up to color and I'm going to choose the first box. I'm going to just fill it. I won't have a stroke. So the stroke is none. Fill. I'm going to just fill this with red. So you can see red on here. I'm going to fill this with the primary color. So the second one, I'm just going to go ahead and select yellow. And then the last one is, what's the primary colors, you guys? What would the last color be? Blue. Pick like a primary blue there. That looks pretty good. Okay. Now with these being aligned, what we're going to do is we're going to do a blend. So we're going to select the first red rectangle and shift select the yellow one only. We're going to go up to object on your menu bar, and I don't know if you guys can see this. Let me share my screen so you can see my windows above here. Hold on, my whole screen. You're just going to see my whole screen. Let me move this over. Okay. So now you're going to go up to Object on your menu bar and go to Blend. Now this takes a couple steps, so kind of pay attention here. So go to Blend Options, Object, Blend, Blend Options. And we want to choose not smooth color, we want specified steps. And we want to choose 4. And click OK. Now it's not going to do anything. Once we click OK, we have to do one more step. Very important. Go back up to Object where you were before. Go back to Blend and then choose Make. Now that's going to blend from your red to your yellow. All the colors in between. Okay. So now, pretty easy, right? Yeah. So now what we're going to do, we need to unlock this because right now I can't really do anything with this and I need to blend the yellow and the blue. So we need to go back up to Object with it selected and choose Blend, and we want to choose Release. That's going to release that. Oh, not release, I'm sorry. Object, Blend, Expand. See, Release would be releasing it back to the normal status before we blend it. So we're going to hit Expand. Okay, so now it's individual. Now, the only thing is when we select it, it's still grouped. So we have to go back up to Object and hit Ungroup. And then let go. Take your selection tool. Now you can select the only yellow square and shift select the blue one. And we're going to do the same thing. Object, Blend. If I can select it, Blend Options, and 4 steps. Click OK. Go back up to Object, Blend, Make. Now, based on your color, this might look a little different than mine. Based on the colors that you've chosen, it's blending all of those colors together as well. So this might not be as green as yours. It kind of, depends on how you're blending it. But right now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. If we wanted 12, we can probably add, let's see here. We're kind of getting close here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, we have 11. But that gives you kind of a start to, you know, kind of how to blend those together for your color wheel to begin. Okay, so now we're going to go up to File, New. We're going to create our new specified box. So we're going to go in here and choose 10 inches by 11. If you don't have inches here, choose inches. And very important down here where it says artboards, we're going to choose 4. So 10 inches by 11 as specified for your assignment 1, and then 4. There you go. Now we're going to go save it. Save as, and then DES114, assignment 1, last name. I'm going to save this to the desktop as an AI file so I can change it if I need to. Click OK. Okay, now there's so many ways that you can create a color wheel, but I'm going to show you one I think is an easier way that you guys can definitely play around with. And that's utilizing those circles. There's a couple steps that you need to do though before you do anything. So let me go ahead and show you how to do this, and you guys can practice and see if you want to do this same concept or not. You don't have to. You can go a different way. Like I showed you, 2 different styles. You can do it your own style. Okay, so we're going to do this. We're going to create this. I think this is the easiest way. So I'm going to go ahead and select the ellipse tool, which is the circle in your toolbar. And just make sure before you do anything, your smart guides are on. So I would go up to View and Guides, and smart guides are chosen, because what we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing some work that we need to know the center of a circle and then area, and that'll kind of intuitively tell us if we have our smart guides selected. So with the circle tool, we're going to drag and hold the Shift key down to make the circle. And if we hold the Option key down, it's also going to show you that, that middle of that circle. We're going to place this right in the middle of our layout here. Okay. And we're going to give it a no fill. See how it's a white fill? We're going to give it a no fill, but we're going to give it a black stroke. The next thing that we're going to do, and let me make this a little smaller. There we go. Now we're going to do another circle, and it's going to be on top of this circle. It's going to be smaller. It's going to be like that big. No fill. We're going to place it up here, and we're going to place it right on the line there, and we're going to give it a darker gray tint to it, it doesn't have to be a specific dark gray, it's just so that we know that this is a different color than the next circle that we're going to create. So we're going to make another circle. Let's give it a no stroke, this one. And we're going to do another small circle, and we're going to give that a lighter tint to it so we can indicate that these are going to be 2 different colors. Okay, so we have 2 different circles here. One's lighter, one's darker, one's bigger, one's smaller. We're going to select the dark gray. We're going to create a symbol. Do you guys ever create symbols in Illustrator? Okay, so what you would do is go up the window and choose symbols. And symbols are a great way to create one object and then repeat it very easily. And that's kind of what symbols is. But you need to create a symbol in order to use it and repeat it. You're going to create a new symbol. So you're going to select your dark gray circle, and you're going to go over into your symbols box. Let me pull this over. And you're going to click right on the upper right-hand assets link button here, and you're going to choose new symbol. And we're going to name this large circle. And we're going to make this a graphic instead of a movie clip. And click OK. And when you have that palette open, you'll notice that symbol appears right here. See it? Okay, we're going to do the same thing with the little circle. We're going to go ahead, click new symbol, excuse me. Smaller circle. Click OK. Pretty easy. You're going to delete the small circle now. Once you delete it, it's still in your symbols. You're going to select the dark circle. Again, we're going to make sure that these are aligned too. So go ahead and select these two circles. Let's get the align button up here. Just make sure they're aligned. There we go. Okay, so we're going to select both circles. And we're aligned to center. Let me bring that back up here. Or my align button, there we go. So you're gonna align, oh, not that way. You're gonna align center right here, just as I showed you. Okay, now you're gonna select the rotate button, rotate tool here. And then you're gonna hold down the button option. And this is gonna give you crosshairs. I don't know if you can see it. So the crosshairs are gonna allow you to the input window should appear if you have the crosshairs, if you hold down the option key here and click. Okay, so you have the input window that appears. You're going to rotate this 30 degrees. So you're going to type in 30. You hit preview to see it. Okay, what we want to do is we want to copy this too. So we want to hit copy. Okay, and now you can do a Command D, which is a paste. So Command D, Command D, Command D, Command D, all the way around. And that just kind of nicely aligns it. So we 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 circles. Okay. Any questions about that? You might need to rewind and listen to that if you do. Now, okay, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna make each, remember how we made those small circles? We're gonna swap these out for the small circles. Oh, sorry, redo. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're going to select I keep redoing this, sorry, redo. You don't have to do this. You can swap these out with the small circles, or you can keep the same. This would just be kind of like the tertiary colors, okay? So what we're gonna do is we're going to, we have to swap this out. And I think I'm in the layer here. Hold on one second. Yeah, we're good. Okay. So what we want to do is we would just want to swap these out to the smaller circles, and it's not letting me do this here. Give me 1 second. There we go. It's not letting me do this. Okay, it should allow me to do this, but it's not. So hold on 1 second. Let me figure this out. there's a way you can swap this out, and for some reason, the color and then symbol swap. Okay, we want symbol swap. Sorry guys, I thought I had this all. Let's see if I have a swap in here. Should be a way to unlink this. It's not letting me do it. Ah.
That last time, whenever you clicked on the thing, it said symbol swap.
Oh, it did? Did I miss it?
Yeah. Yeah, click on your circle again and then click back over here on your little lines, and it would give you the option to symbol swap. You had clicked on something else. Maybe edit symbol? Was it edit symbol? No?
I don't know. Let's see, edit symbol. No. I just did this. Let's see here, break link, reset transformation. Yeah, there should be a way where it'll just swap out very easily. And for some reason, it's not allowing me to do this. Edit symbol here. Yeah, let me select all the tertiary ones. And then replace symbol. Yeah, it's not letting me. I just did this too. And now I can't figure it out. Place symbol instance, break link to symbol. We'll just break link, and then we will place symbol instance. Nope, it's not doing it. All right, let me, before I go on, give me 1 second here. All right, let's see here. I think I just have to unlink this from the symbol that we have. This is where the symbols kind of get confusing here. So let me go ahead and let me see if I let's see. Edit symbol. It's so weird. I don't know why it's not doing it for me. It's just not doing it for me. I'm gonna have to re-examine this here. I don't know why it's still looking at it as this symbol. So if I break link to symbol, yeah, it's not really, let me see if I ungroup it. It's probably really easy and I'm just missing it here because I just did this not too long ago. Let's see here, place symbol instance, and you should be able to just click on this. And it should place it. I don't know why it's not doing that. It's driving me crazy. No, not new symbol. Sorry, guys. I don't know why this is not working for me now. Duplicate symbol, place symbol instance. You should be able to just click right on to this symbol and it swaps it out. For some reason, it's not doing that. Let me see if I select it with this. Yeah, see, it's not doing that. So I'm not quite sure exactly what's going on here. I'm going to have to kind of relook at this before I spend any more time. I should be able to do this, click on it, and it should replace it. I'm not sure why it's not doing that. Yeah, same right there. Should be replacing it with that, but it's not. All right, so let me figure that out. You right click on it. Let's see. Yeah, but it doesn't really do anything to it. It's really weird. I'll figure this out. Just give me 1 second. That might be an easy fix here. I just have to like figure out what the heck's going on with my symbols. But we're going to move forward here because I don't want to waste too much time. Let's go back to our gradient of colors here. Now, in the instructions, it talks about how you should bring up, I'm going to bring this up here, your swatch library. So all you need to do, and I think I already have my swatch library up here. Let's bring it up. Oh, no, I don't. So here's swatches. So just go to Window Swatches, and it'll bring up your swatch library. And you go to the Options panel, Open Swatch Library, Color Properties, and Bright. So go ahead and up on the upper right-hand corner, select that little Assets button, Open Swatch Library. Let me move this over so you can see it. And then choose, it should be a Bright. It's under Color Properties. And it's saying to use the colors from here. Or you can do where, you did the steps here, you can also use that as well. Okay. So for this first one, first color here, you're going to want to unlink all these in order to do what we need to do with this anyway. So go back to your symbols to apply the color, I should say. We're going to break link to symbol to all of them. And then go ahead and fill this with your colors. Now, obviously you want the colors to be appropriate to the color wheel. So what I would suggest is putting your primary colors into place first. So it would be the red on the top, and then it would obviously be the yellow right here, and then the blue would be over here. So it'd be 1, 2, 3, 4 would be the yellow, 1, 2, 3, 4 would be the blue. Now I would probably choose a, let's see, these are the bright colors. We'll just choose another blue in here. And then you can pick the tertiary colors in here, which would be the following. Now again, if you have this going on here, you can pull from that. You just take your eyedropper tool and you can select these colors. Now my colors are a little different that I pulled from this bright, but I just copied and pasted this in. So for instance, you could go ahead and select this circle and take your eyedropper tool and go ahead and select this orange. Okay. That kind of is a nice way to use this without having to guess throughout the swatches. Now this one doesn't look as green. I think it's because the blue that I chose looks a little different. It's like a, now my blue is different too, so I'm gonna wanna swap this to the blue here. That's a little different. And then the purple, this would be kind of like going towards the purples here. This would be like a purple red. So what you could do is you could blend the blue and the red together as we showed before. But this would be kind of like the darker purple, purplish, oops, not this one. Kind of like the magenta color, and then we would go from this to the purple. Kind of like that. I'll probably change my green just to get the brighter colors in here. And then this would be kind of, oh, yeah, like that. Okay, and then you can delete this inner circle. You don't really need this anymore. And my layers here. Choosing new symbol from, yeah, that's what I was doing, Ashley. Bring up my libraries again, my symbols library. Let's see if this will work again. Yeah, we'll do it. So I guess these would be smaller is what I was getting to. Like all these three in between, or these two in between would be smaller, which is kind of like a hierarchical type of a you know, way to view it. It doesn't necessarily have to mean you have to have them smaller. I was just showing you a way to do that where you would have, you know, the primary colors sticking out as a focal point. Okay. Oh, okay. Thank you. Okay, so I'm just gonna hide my circle here. Okay. And this is pretty much what you can do. You can make these smaller again. I'm gonna review that and let you guys know what I was doing wrong, because obviously there's something I was not doing right as far as the symbol steps. So I'll definitely review that and let you guys know too, so you guys get that going. but so we don't waste any more time either, I wanted to go forward. So here is my, here's my full 12-step color wheel. So all I would need to do is just group this. So select all and group, and then do an alt drag, and then go ahead and drag this onto your other artboards. Or if you want to do it kind of a different way and you didn't create your 4 artboards yet. So let's say you didn't select all 4 artboards and it looks like this. This might be a smarter way to do it. And let's go ahead, and this might actually be a smarter way to do it. Go ahead and type in like complementary. So I just used my type tool. Let me bring up I know it's really small. You guys can't see this here. Make sure I spelled this right. So go ahead and name these per, section that you're going to show. So you're going to show 4 schemes, color schemes. So you're going to show complementary, which I did spell wrong, triadic, analogous, and split complementary. So I'm going to go ahead and take my type tool and did I spell this wrong? No, it's actually right. So these are the 4 that I need to do. So I'm just going to paste that up there. So what I mean by being smart by maybe not selecting the 4 artboards right away is because maybe once you get this ready to go, now you can bring up your artboards. We'll take this artboard layer and just duplicate this, drag it, and place it over top of this little document, and that will duplicate your artboard. And then do that 2 more times. And what's smart about that is it keeps it very consistent, and you have your copy ready to go. So all you need to do is take your type tool and just change these words to be based on what you're showing in each one of these. Okay, and then all you would need to do is just center them when you're done. So use your align options, use your align tool here, and go ahead and center. Make sure they're grouped because you don't want to center it if it's not grouped. And that just gives you a easier way to do it. Make sense? Any questions about that? All right, and then now you just have to show indicators. Now you can show lines. It's up to you. That's completely up to you. I like to show something just really simple. Like I showed you guys in that example before with just having maybe a little white or a different color indicator in the middle. So for this one, I would do an alt drag and show complementary colors. You just have to show one example, okay? So let's do an alt drag and bring this over triadic. Let's see. So if you were to do triadic, this is split complementary. But you're not stuck to, doing what I'm doing. You kind of play around with it. Okay, so this would be and then you could just copy this. So whatever you do, just keep it consistent so it's easy to read. This would be excuse me, right here, this would be an example. Split complementary, which is your complementary color scheme in addition to a base color. Let me get this one changed here. There we go. Purple, orange, and green. Triadic. Okay. So here we go. Complementary, triadic, analogous, and split complementary. I'm going to reset my essentials here so my artboard's not so messy. Any questions about that? And feel free to do whatever you want. If you want to like put black in the background for a different look, this is kind of where you come up with whatever you want to be creative and different. Oops. Just make sure your type's readable. Obviously, you want to make it contrasted so you can see it. I wouldn't use anything else in the background as far as color other than black and white, just because it might take away from your color wheel. Just keep it pretty neutral in the background if you do that. Any questions about that? Other than me kind of screwing up the symbol part there. I'm gonna have to figure that out and let you know kind of what I was doing wrong. Okay. Sometimes, it just happens to the best of us. I don't work with symbols all the time, so sometimes when I go through these demos, I forget certain things. So I'll definitely have to figure out what I was doing wrong. I'll let you guys know. When you're ready to save this out, just go to File, Save As, and save it out as a PDF. And then just make sure, and this could be a smallest file is fine. Just make sure you open that PDF to make sure it looks good before you send it. Pretty easy, right? Other than me kind of messed up the demo there. But you make it what it is. You don't even have to use circles. You can use stars. You can make it look, any way that you want to. There's also videos in here to help you with that. Yeah, it could be. It could be an Adobe glitch for sure. There's some issues going on with the CC with certain things. Like for instance, I know I was teaching, what was it? It was like a Photoshop. Holding down the shift key doesn't work anymore, and that's because certain things were open. CC has a bug. I don't know, it's just really weird. So, but I will figure it out and I'll let you guys know what, if I was doing anything wrong, how to fix that. I apologize in advance. Any questions about what needs to be done for assignment 1? Is that pretty clear? Okay. Okay, so let's go forward. We have one more thing to talk about here, and that is your assessment. And your assessment's pretty straightforward, so I don't think you'll have any issues with this. You're going to be applying schemes to designs. So again, we're going to be applying different color schemes, just another practice method. I'm going to go ahead and read through the background. I'm going to go to the prompt. So for this assessment, have fun creating an abstract geometric composition using just shapes. Draw circles, squares, triangles, organic shapes, or any combination of them. Employ the principles of design, contrast, repetition, alignment, and proximity to ensure sound design choices. Avoid strokes around your shapes. That's like color strokes, like an outline. And do not go for something recognizable. The more abstract, the better. Once you have your composition complete, duplicate it to 3 total artboards. Color each composition with the following color scheme. So it's going to be the same design, but you're going to have a different color scheme added to it. Analogous, complementary, monochromatic. So you're going to use Illustrator. You're going to make your artboards 8 inches by 8 inches. You're going to have 3 artboards. You're going to utilize an analogous color scheme for one composition. You may use tints and tones of the color for this composition. Do you guys know what tints and tones means? like adding white or black. Yeah. Plus one neutral color or an accent as well. Consider mixing your two main colors to see what sort of neutral they create and then tinting that down. Utilize a monochromatic color scheme for one composition. For this one, utilize the blending techniques that you employed for the tertiary colors in the assignment for this week. Like I showed you, that blending. Mix your base color with black shade, white tint, and 50% gray tone, and save the steps between. I can show you how to do that. Okay, so you're going to create 3 artboards in Illustrator. And they're going to be 8 inches by 8 inches. Go ahead and do the 3 artboards, create. By the way, you can reorganize your artboard. I don't know if you guys know this. If you go to your artboard box, piano box, you could rearrange these. So say if you wanted them all horizontal, you can go up to your presets and say rearrange artboards. And you can say, okay, I want one column and I want them to be horizontal. And it'll set the horizontal columns. You can do so vertically too, in that same regards. Okay, so basically what you're gonna do is you're gonna just kind of create this crazy design with these shapes. There's some really cool things that you can do with, if you ever played around with, let me see, let me get the circle tool here. So I'm gonna select the circle tool and I'm going to just choose black for now. And with that circle tool selected, right under your escape key, there is a kind of like a wavy line. And I want to say it's called the tilde key, T-I-L-D. You want to hold that down as you're clicking on your board, and you can create some really cool shapes here, really abstract looking things. You can do that with, you know, kind of depending on how you move your shape around. You can create these really kind of cool shapes. You might want to do a little bit more simple one at first so you can kind of get a good idea of lines that you want to fill. You don't have to go this crazy, but you can create your colors within this shape very easily. So let's do the monochromatic color scheme. Let's go to your rectangle tool. Remember how we did? That's okay. So you want to take your shape tool, whatever shape you want, and select the tilde key, which is this key here, and I'll show you in the chat. It's right above your, oops, right below the escape key. Hold that down and then click and draw out your shape. Okay. Go ahead and take your rectangle tool and let's go choose a color for this. I'm going to go like with a red. And let me go up to colors here. Let me show you something too. Symbols, swatches. Let's go to color libraries. Color guide here. Okay, so if you go to color guide, this is, let me see here, under color guide, under window. So if you don't have that, you can pull that up. What's neat about this is this already shows you the shades and the tints of this color. So this color is selected. This is if you add white for a tint or add black for shade. So if you wanted a monochromatic color scheme, this is how you can easily just, you know, do that. So you would choose, you know, any color in here. Tints and shades, this would be the monochromatic example. Now you can choose to fill this too. Obviously you would have to fill it with this color. You know, if you wanted to do that instead. The only thing with this is you'd probably want to layer it in a different way. You know, so because right now it's showing you what's in the front and not the back. I was just doing it very simply with an outline. So this is one way that you can do it. It's kind of interesting, a little different. And that's how you can find the tints and the shade in this, you know, easy reference here. And you would just change all these lines to being that. You just delete these so you can at least see what this looks like. Okay. You can copy these. You can do some like really cool things if you want to like rotate them and make them bigger. Do that, you know, kind of play around with it and see what you can come up with, but create a rhythm, you know, something that works for this. Or you could just do very simple shapes that you kind of can play around with too. You know, say you want to do some really cool things, just playing around with different shapes and colors. This would be the monochromatic example as well. No strokes. Now I'm just going to keep this pretty. And do a scale tool. I'm going to scale this down. Now let's do the background color would be this lighter tint. So that would be an example of a monochromatic color scheme. Let's do a little darker here. Let's do a little darker here. There we go. Okay, and then if you want to crop this, just to kind of an FYI, you have to have the outline of what you want to crop. So this would be considered kind of like an outline. I could actually create another outline. So let me just do another square here. It doesn't have to have a stroke on it. Select what you just created and select what you want to crop. So shift select, object, clipping mask, make, and it'll clip it. Now the only thing is these might kind of go behind here because of that, so just bring those forward. Okay, so that would be the monochromatic example here, and you could definitely take your type tool and type in here monochromatic. Just place it somewhere so you can see it. Now, if you do the clipping mask, you're going to have to break that mask in order to copy and duplicate this. Well, you might not be able to, or may not have to. Let me see what this does here. So the monochromatic is one of them. Complementary color scheme for the other. Yeah, you might have to break this. Let me see here. What's neat about this color guide is once you select a color, so let's choose this color again. Yeah, let's release this. You can release the clipping mask by going back up to Object and Clipping Mask and Release. Okay, so you can select this, go to Color Guide, and then choose this drop-down menu and choose Complementary. And what's neat about that is it kind of gives you the complementary colors that go with this. So all you need to do is change your other parts of this with a complementary color scheme. Okay. And this would be complementary. And the third one, what's the third one here? Analogous. Oh, analogous. I'm going to paste in that again. I'm going to release this clipping mask so I can select that. And then I'm going to select this first color and I'm going to go up to the drop down menu. I'm sorry, right here. And I'm going to choose analogous. Now there's different kinds, like more vibrant analogous ones. So that's why there's more than one. But if I'm selecting this color, it's kind of showing me the colors beside it on the color wheel so that I can choose those same colors. Okay, so this would be analogous. Is that right? Let's see. Yeah. Okay. And then again, I'll just have to crop this. Clip it, I should say. Does that make sense to all of you guys? You can make it really abstract, but, you know, have some type of design to it so that it looks good and visually works. Okay, so this would be monochromatic, this would be complementary, and this would be analogous. 3 artboards. Go ahead and save it. Yeah, it does actually. It makes me hungry. Assessment 1. And this. Now this is the AI file because I forgot to save this. And then you're going to save it as a PDF. Okay, smallest file size is fine. Let me see if I have any student examples for this one. I usually do have. Yes, I do. Okay, let me show you some student examples, and then that way you'll have a better idea too. I think seeing examples always helps if I have any here. All right, here's one example. And this is one document here, analogous, complementary, monochromatic. Analogous, complementary, monochromatic. Now this student decided to do 3 different ones. Let's see, this student did all the same. All the same. It should be all the same. I think in the specs it says just copy that same design and just change your color scheme out. And obviously the name on it. Make sure you put the name on there, that color scheme, because sometimes when I look at yours and say if it's not correct, I don't know exactly which one that you're referring to if you don't have the name onto it. So, you know, analogous, if you don't have this below here and say the colors are all off, I won't really understand what you're trying to show me. So make sure that you're titling each artboard as well. Any questions about that? Okay, and that's pretty much besides me trying to figure out that symbols issue, which I'll figure this out, and I think what I'll do is I'll just make a small video and I'll post it to announcements of what I was doing wrong so that you guys can, you know, play around with it and see if you can do it if you want to go that route. But other than that, I'm going to wrap it up if you guys don't have any other questions. And I will be posting this lecture to the session area soon here once it gets processed, once we're done here. All right. Thank you guys for being so patient with me. Sometimes things happen and, you know, you guys working with me is great. Like I said, I'll try to get that part that I kind of stalled out on to you guys in announcements so you can work it out and play around with it. But, you know, make it what you want it to be. The color wheel doesn't have to be exactly how I showed you. Okay. Thank you guys. Have a great day, and I'll be seeing you on the discussion boards as well. Don't forget, I will be in the multi-session on Wednesday too if you need me. All right, guys. Have a great rest of your day. I'll see you guys soon.